Ethan stands in front of a massive window, looking down at the city. His assistant, Mark, 50s, enters. Mark, long day? Ethan, distracted. Something like that. Mark, the Tokyo deal went through. Another win for Carter Enterprises. Ethan, nods, uninterested. Great. Mark notices Ethan's distant expression. Mark, something else on your mind? Ethan considers mentioning the woman he saw earlier, but shakes his head. Ethan, just tired. That's all. Ava rummages through a trash bin, looking for anything edible. A security guard approaches. Security guard. Hey, move along. No loitering. Ava sighs, grabbing her bag and walking away. Every day was the same. Every night, colder than the last. She finds an alleyway, curling up beside a heating vent. Her eyes shut tightly, trying to forget. Ethan's car passes the same street. This time, he sees Ava struggling to stand, exhaustion evident. For reasons he can't explain, he slows down, then pulls over. He rolls down his window. Ethan, hey. Ava flinches, backing away. Ava, I'm not asking for money. Ethan pauses, then, are you hungry? Ava studies him, hesitant. Then, her stomach growls. She sighs, then nods. He gestures for her to get in. Ethan and Ava sit at a quiet corner booth. The elegant ambience contrasts Ava's worn-out appearance. She hesitates before picking up the menu. Ava, muttering to herself, this place could feed 20 people for the price of one meal. Ethan, glancing up, order whatever you want. Ava eyes him warily, then focuses on the menu. The waiter approaches. Waiter, clears throat, eyeing Ava suspiciously. Would you like to start with some wine, sir? Ava shifts uncomfortably under the waiter's judgmental gaze. Ethan, firmly, sensing Ava's discomfort. Just bring us the special. And a hot coffee. The waiter nods and leaves. Ava watches him go, then turns to Ethan. Ava, so what is this? Some rich guy guilt thing? Ethan leans back, expression unreadable. I don't know. I saw you earlier. Something told me not to drive away. Ava scoffs, shaking her head. I don't need saving. Ethan, didn't say you did. A beat of silence. Ava exhales, finally softening. Ava, okay, look. I don't know how to do this. Free food, strangers being nice. It doesn't happen to me. Ethan, maybe tonight's different. The waiter returns with steaming plates. Ava hesitates, then picks up her fork. She takes a bite, her first real meal in weeks. Her posture relaxes slightly. Ethan unlocks his massive apartment, stepping inside. Ava lingers at the door, hesitant. Ava, you don't have to do this. Ethan shrugs, tossing his keys onto the counter. Guest rooms down the hall. Bathrooms stocked. Ava glances around. The penthouse is sleek, modern, cold. It feels foreign, yet safe. Ethan watches her, sensing her hesitation. Ethan, softly, it's just a place to rest. No strings. Ava exhales, then nods. She heads toward the guest room, pausing at the doorway. Ava, without looking back. Thanks for the food. She disappears inside. Ethan stares after her, running a hand through his hair, still unsure why he did this. Sunlight filters through the curtains. Ava stirs in the plush bed, momentarily forgetting where she is. When she remembers, she sits up abruptly, scanning the room. It's too clean, too luxurious, too far from the reality she knows. She steps out cautiously, finding her way to the kitchen. Ethan is already there, dressed in a crisp suit, sipping coffee. He looks up as she enters. Ethan, gesturing to the counter, there's food. Help yourself. Ava hesitates, then grabs a piece of toast. She nibbles on it, watching Ethan carefully. Ava, so, what's your deal? Ethan, raising an eyebrow. My deal? Ava, shrugging. Rich guy. Big apartment. Doesn't seem the type to pick up strangers off the street. Ethan pauses, then sighs. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I just did something different for once. Ava, and now what? You send me on my way? Ethan, studying her. Is that what you want? Ava doesn't answer. She looks away, biting her lip. Ava walks through an old apartment, carrying groceries. A child's laughter echoes in the background. She opens the door to find a messy but warm home. A little girl, about 5 years old, runs to her. Little girl. Mommy. Ava scoops her up, smiling. Ava, Vio. I had a life once. A home. A daughter. The scene shifts. Ava arguing with a man. David, her ex. He slams a door in her face. Papers scatter. Custody papers. Ava is left sobbing on the floor. Ava, Vio. But life has a way of tearing things apart. Ethan sits at his desk, flipping through documents. Mark enters. Mark, hesitant. So, about the woman in your apartment. Ethan, not looking up. What about her? Mark. I ran a background check. No criminal record, just bad luck. Lost her job, lost her home, lost custody of her daughter. Ethan stops flipping pages. He looks up, surprised at the last part. Mark, quietly. She used to be a teacher. Ethan, murmuring to himself. A teacher. Ava stands on the balcony, gazing at the skyline. Ethan steps out, holding 2 cups of tea. Ethan, offering one. Tea? Ava smirks but takes it. Ava, softly. I used to drink tea all the time. Before everything. Ethan, studying her. Mark told me about your daughter. Ava stiffens, her grip tightening on the cup. Ava, quietly. Did he? Ethan, I know what it's like to lose family. Ava looks at him, skeptical. Ava, doubt it. Ethan, softly. My father was a businessman. Expected perfection. I lived by his rules until the day he died. And after that, I still lived by them. Even when they didn't make sense anymore. A beat. Ava exhales, nodding slightly. Ava, I just want my little girl back. Ethan watches her, something shifting in his expression. A decision forming. Ethan, after a pause. Then let's figure out how to make that happen. Ava's eyes widen, caught off guard. For the first time in a long time, hope flickers in them. Ethan sits at his desk, deep in thought. He types on his laptop, pulling up legal websites, articles on regaining custody, and job rehabilitation programs. His assistant, Mark, enters and notices Ethan's focus. Mark, raising an eyebrow. So, this isn't just charity anymore, is it? Ethan, not looking up. No. Mark, nods, then smirks. Thought so. Ethan leans back, rubbing his temples. He knows helping Ava isn't simple, but for the first time in years, a business deal isn't the most important thing on his mind. Ava steps into the living room, freshly showered and wearing clean clothes Ethan had sent for. She looks more like herself, stronger, more put together. Ethan notices. Ethan, nodding approvingly. You look like someone ready for a second chance. Ava, hesitant. I want that. I just don't know where to start. Ethan, handing her a folder. I do. Ava opens it. Inside are job applications, legal resources, and notes on child custody laws. Ava, eyes widening, overwhelmed. You did this? Ethan, simply. You need a job first. Something stable. Then we work on getting your daughter back. Ava looks at him, emotions swirling. No one has ever gone this far for her. Ava walks into a small private school, nervous but determined. The principal, a kind woman in her 50s, reviews her resume. Principal, you were a teacher before? Ava, nodding. Yes, for 5 years. Before, things fell apart. Principal, studying her, then smiling. Everyone deserves a fresh start. Can you start as a substitute? Ava's breath catches. She nods quickly. Ava, yes, absolutely. For the first time in years, she feels like she belongs again. Ava returns, beaming. Ethan watches her with amusement as she practically bounces into the room. Ava, grinning. I got the job. Ethan, smirking. Told you. Ava laughs, a genuine, joyful sound Ethan realizes he's never heard from her before. It surprises him, and it surprises her too. They sit down, talking, laughing, walls breaking down between them. They are no longer just a millionaire and a homeless woman. They are 2 people who have saved each other in ways neither expected. Ava sits in a courtroom, dressed professionally, her hands gripping the edge of the table. Ethan sits beside her for support. Across the room, David, her ex, looks unimpressed. The judge scans the documents in front of him. Judge, reviewing files. Miss Collins, I see you've secured stable employment and housing. That's a significant improvement. Ava nods, swallowing nervously. Her lawyer presents evidence of her progress. Ethan watches intently, his jaw tight with tension. David, leaning forward, scoffing. She was homeless a few months ago. You think she's suddenly capable of being a mother again? Ava flinches, but Ethan speaks up before she can. Ethan, calm but firm. She's not the same woman she was months ago. She's rebuilt her life. And I'd bet everything I have that she'll be a better parent now than she ever was before. The judge considers this. Finally, after a long pause, he makes his ruling. Judge, sternly, Miss Collins, I'm granting you supervised visitation for now. If all goes well, we'll revisit full custody in 6 months. Ava gasps, tears filling her eyes. It's not everything, but it's a start. Ava waits nervously at a park bench. Then, a little girl comes running across the grass. Her daughter, Lily. Ava drops to her knees as Lily jumps into her arms. Lily, excitedly, Mommy. Ava clings to her, unable to stop the tears. Ava, whispering, I missed you so much, baby. Ethan watches from a distance, his expression unreadable. Something shifts inside him. This moment matters more than any business deal ever has. Later that night, Ethan stands on the balcony, deep in thought. Ava joins him, looking more like herself than ever. Ava, softly, You know, I never asked why you did all this. Ethan, glancing at her, then back at the city skyline. Maybe because I needed saving just as much as you did. Ava studies him, realizing for the first time how lonely he's been in his perfect world. Ava, gently, You don't have to be alone, Ethan. A beat. Then, Ethan turns to her, really looking at her. For the first time, he allows himself to admit what he's been feeling all along. He takes a step closer. Ava doesn't move away. Ethan, softly, with a small smile. Maybe I don't. They stand there, the city lights glowing around them, as something unspoken yet undeniable passes between them. A montage of Ava teaching at the school, spending time with Lily, and sharing quiet moments with Ethan. They are no longer broken. They are whole, together. Ava Vio. Sometimes, life doesn't go the way we planned. Sometimes, we lose everything before we find what truly matters. Ethan and Ava walk through the park, Lily holding both their hands, laughing. The sun sets behind them. Ava Vio. But if we're lucky, if we open ourselves to change, we find the people who make us whole again. Screen fades to black. Text on screen. Real wealth isn't in money.